Hello, everybody. Welcome. If you're new here, my name is Sabina. Pleasure to have you. I have been mulling something over in my mind for a good week. I had a very powerful insight into what it really means when we're taught be careful what you focus on because what you focus on you create. I imagine anybody listening to any of my videos knows this, has heard this. But you know how a lot of lessons you learn in layers, a lot of spiritual principles you understand at ever deeper layers, and usually it means you understand it at a simpler level. It often, I always think you can really tell if someone knows what they're talking about because they can put it in really simple terms. And it's the same with you can always know if you really understand something because you will get it at its simplest and therefore at its core. So what happened was that I started to understand what it really means that we're being manipulated by the media, I refer to them as the powers that were. Now, I know you're going to hear them referred to as many different things. Some will not resonate with you. Okay, some people will refer to it as the cabal, the deep state, the shadow, whatever. Personally, I can best understand it when I think about the fact that it's part of a collective ego. It's our collective swirl of our own shadow. So I was thinking about how in my own mind and in each of our minds, ego hijacks the space, right? Ego manipulates each one of us. We are a prisoner to it. We are a prisoner to our ego in our mind until we learn to recognize it, to differentiate ourselves from it, and to choose differently. And it's the same on a global scale. Collectively, we have the same lessons to learn and the same work to do. So just like in our mind, there's this ego hijacking our thoughts and our emotions and kind of hijacking our life in a sense while we let it go unchecked and we don't realize what's happening or we think we're at the mercy of it. The same is happening. The same has always happened for thousands of years. What's happening now, what's different now about 2020 is that it's all rising to the surface and we can't ignore it anymore, right? So the manipulation, the tactics, the ploys, the open use of fear and conflict is becoming really clear to many of us. And so really what it is so then we're looking at and we're saying, well, it's the cabal, it's the deep state, it's the whatever. I prefer to refer to it as the collective ego. But you know what? Semantics, it doesn't matter. Refer to it whatever resonates with you. And so I've been thinking about this deeply on a collective basis because understanding it in my own mind has freed me in a way that I really didn't believe I could be while still having a human experience. And what we're doing collectively at the moment is if we continue to unite and we continue to choose to be in our power and we continue to choose love, collectively we will gain freedom from this energy like never before. And here's the way that I've been thinking about that's a good way to understand it. Because just like our ego feeds off fear and conflict, so does this collective energy that we're observing, this collective energy that manipulates and controls for an agenda, uses fear and conflict en masse from all of us to feed itself, to sustain itself, to build its power. Now, if you're hearing that sentence and you think, oh, not more of this like cabal deep state thing, feeding off. At its simplest basis, everything has an agenda. Every advertising company has an agenda. Every government has an agenda. Every news report has an agenda. Every program you watch on TV has an agenda. There's no conspiracy theory about this. Structures, groups, people. We each have an agenda. We always have an agenda. Now, some people's agenda is to further the person that they're having a conversation with, to further their insight or further their access to their own power, and other people's agenda is to further their own power. That really, I mean, I don't know how you could kind of really not be observing that. So knowing that this goes on in my own mind, in each one of our minds, knowing that it goes on collectively, I already know this, that fear and conflict feed this energy. And so I've often said to people, fear and conflict feed this energy. United we will rise. If we can stay united, that's where our power is. Claim your power. Don't wait for someone to knock on your door and give you your power. It's not going to happen. If we are going to remember that we are sovereign beings, it's about standing in our power, claiming our sovereignty, and living our life from that place, making decisions and actions from that place. But I got it on another level last week. I got it at that kind of deeper layer, that core basis of what's really happening. Because if you watch a lot of movies, turn on Netflix right now, and every second movie is about a virus, a contagion, a pandemic, a natural disaster, a zombie apocalypse, a government takeover, all of it. Our worst nightmares are on the screen. A friend said to me recently, "Oh my God, have you seen V for Vendetta?" Which I then watched, and she said, like, literally, it's now. And so what we can think is, oh my God, it's all been predicted. So therefore, it is going to happen. It is true. It is an inevitability. And what I realized last week was that, no, it doesn't happen because it's been predicted. It happens because it's shown to us often enough that we create it for them. So think of it this way. Think of banks. A bank, in and of itself, doesn't have any money. When it opens its doors, it has no money. A bank relies on your money, my money, lots of people's money to make money off that money. So the actual bank is a structure that in and of itself cannot become wealthy. It becomes wealthy when we give it our money and it invests that money. And it makes more money off that money whilst we are not using our own money. So it makes money off our money. The other way it makes money, of course, is by lending us money, which it takes from that pool of the money that people have given it. So it'll take your money, it'll lend it to me, and it'll charge me interest. And then I give more money back. So it makes money in that way. It makes money through investing our money. It makes money through lending our money and making interests off the lending. And so it needs us to become ever more powerful, to become ever more wealthy. And where I realize this to a degree that I never have before is that by showing us this energy, by showing us what it wants as an outcome, because it can't create it on its own. In and of itself, it is powerless, just like the bank. Just like the bank in and of itself is not wealthy, can't be, it's nothing, just a structure with potential. This energy is just a structure with potential. Without our power, it is nothing. Every timeline, every eventuality that it wants to create and that we possibly fear, the stuff of our worst nightmares, all the zombie apocalypses, all the climate disasters, the all of it, the death, the destruction, the man against man, the wars, all of it needs our energy to manifest it. Without it, it can do nothing. And even the news is skewed this way. The news, which of course has an agenda, it is owned by people just like any company is owned by people with an agenda. It shows us images, it uses words, it uses projections, it projects to us what it wants us to create. Now, don't think that you're not creating it because you're looking at it and going, what a load of shit. You're still creating it, even if you watch it and then you go to sleep and you dream about it, or even if you talk to your friend about it and say, oh my God, did you see the thing with the da-da-da-da-da? We're still helping create it. Any of our energy that goes to it. So am I saying don't talk about anything you don't want to happen, don't give any energy? No. I mean, it's a balance that you learn to walk. It's a balance that you learn to walk where you respect what is and you recognize that we must take action to shift what is. We can't do that if we don't acknowledge it. We can't do that if we pretend it's not happening. So we do need to know, yes, our power lies in seeing what is, in taking action based on what is and choosing differently. But that a big part of our power comes from going, I'm not going to help you create that. I'm not going to let you manipulate my mind and harness my energy for your agenda. Does that make sense? Whatever wording you use, if you sit there and go, I don't believe in a deep state, I don't believe in it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just hear this at its most basic core level. Just like there is an ego in each one of our minds that if we don't know what it's doing, will take over, will run the show, will manipulate us into triggered reactions and unconscious living and continued repeated patterns. And we really kind of almost like are at the mercy of it until we learn what it is, what it's doing. We learn to differentiate ourselves out of it and we stop giving it power. The same thing is happening outside of us collectively. Just think of it as energy. Just think there's an energy that exists on this planet that would like things to go its way. And that may not be in your best interests, just like the advertisements are aimed to get you to buy the product. If I can get you to make you feel bad about yourself, you will buy the beauty products. If I can get you to make you feel bad about your body, you will buy the thing that you run up and down your thighs and gets rid of your cellulite, and the exercise equipment that you're never going to use, that you're going to dry your clothes on in the spare room. I have an agenda. I set that intention and then you give me the power. Just like the bank is nothing without our money, this energy is nothing without our ability to create. We're the powerful ones and we are the master manifestors, and that energy is tapping into us. So say, no, not with my mind you don't, not with my energy you don't. Just start to become really conscious of that. All right, much love.